So one of the things that people are looking out for, and I think maybe this is why my mom is like so addicted to the news, is we are looking for leaders. We are looking for people to say like, this is how you can move forward. You know, I need a mentor. And that's something that you went through in your life. You're looking for mentorship, right? So tell me a little bit about that journey. How did that go?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, yeah, that was my journey since I was a kid. You know, I was raised by a single mom. So my dad wasn't around a lot. And I found myself in my early years, and when I say early years, I mean, even into my 30s, looking for really good male mentors, male role models, leaders that I could look up to. And, you know, the interesting thing was while I was in the journey, I didn't appreciate who was around me. You know, I felt like there was nobody here for me, right? I'm all alone in this. I'm doing this thing on my own.
Right.
And it really took me till now to become aware that, you know, every step along the way, there were teachers, there were mentors in whatever little kind of tiny way they were mentors all along that journey. But if you look at this, you know, life and even what's going on right now, right? As a hero's journey,
Right.
and we've all heard that term, the hero's journey. We're all on one. I mean, if you look back at every myth, every story, I mean, even today, all the movies, the Marvel movies, Star Wars movies, they're all about the hero's journey.
Right.
And when you take a step back and look at it, and I looked at my own, you know, who my teachers were, who my mentors were, talk about my dad in a little bit, some of the things that he taught me without teaching me. Right. It wasn't like he sat me down. This is my biggest awareness was nobody really sat me down and said, hey, Eric, this is this and this is this and this is this. It was experiences. It was stories. It was, you know, things that I reflected back on that I went, oh, wow. Okay. Well, I learned something there. That kind of moved me forward a little bit. And, you know, it was understanding, you know, from one of my mentors now, Rob James, showed me the different archetypes that we all go through. And if you look at these stories, these myths, we all kind of travel through these archetypes. And we've defined them for the purposes of this talk as the warrior, the lover, the king, and the hero, king and queen and hero. And that's kind of where my podcast came, because I thought I went through this journey of trying to become a better man, looking for role models. Are there other men out there who are, number one, doing the same thing, looking for that, and number two, men who have already kind of are a little further along the path than I am, that have done their journey.
Right.
And I want to hear their story. So that's kind of why we put that podcast together. And that's why it has the title it has, because we've all passed through warrior to lover to king and queen into hero.
Are there, so before we get into the archetypes, I know a lot of, aha moments and light bulbs go off, usually when you hit rock bottom. Right? Like when something's really, really bad and then you overcome that somehow and then you get this epiphany. So was that something like you grew up without a father being around, you're looking for role models? Did something kind of happen where you're like, oh, you know what? I hate this version of me. What is Eric Rogell 2.0 and how do I get there? And then you develop this entire system.
Yeah, that's really funny, because the funny thing is, it's like, yeah, every day, Aoife, that's what happened every single day.
Every day is rock bottom.
Every day. Well, I wouldn't say rock bottom, but every day is like, what's that challenge? You know, and it's funny because, you know, one of the big things for me, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but one of the big things for me is, okay, so I'm struggling. I'm younger. I'm struggling. I'm looking for ways to get better. I want to achieve more. I want to do more, but I'm struggling and I'm stumbling and I'm hitting these roadblocks and stuff's happening to me. And I'm looking at successful men and I'm going, well, look at that guy. He's, you know, a huge movie star, or this guy's the CEO of a $1 billion company. And this guy, and there was that comparison mode of, well, look how successful they are. Why am I not? And that was the big thing for me, was comparing, right?
Yeah.
And what I realized, and especially when I started to interview these men, was the greatest moments in their life were when they were at their biggest struggle, when they faced their biggest challenge. I talked to guys where for them it may have been, you know, drugs and alcohol. For some it was they lost everything they had and they were living out of a van for a year, and then, you know, made it back and became multimillionaire. It is those moments that we need to take the most value from. right? When we're looking at it now, when you're in it, you're like, oh crap, this is happening to me right now. This sucks. I hate this. I hate my life. I can't go anywhere. And again, when you step back and you look at it and you go, what's the value here? What am I learning? Because every man that I've interviewed on the show, they've learned something from every single challenge they faced, every single screw up, every single loss has moved them forward farther.
Yeah.
So that's really, when we get into this, that's the warrior part of us, is recognizing that challenge, recognizing that struggle and going, you know what, I got this. And you're just going to keep moving forward, because those are the things that make us who we are. Yeah. So everything, Ifat, that happened to me from when I was younger, including my father not being around at the beginning, I love him for that. And he's passed away. But I love him for that, because what it gave me is invaluable. The lessons I learned there and what I had to go through was invaluable. So look at those lessons, take the value from them, and that'll help move you forward.